Thanks for watching Lessons in Minutes with Jaylee. Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.
We're going to continue to look at the cash book. Now, in previous sessions, you were introduced to the purpose of the cash book, the source documents relating to the cash book, whether it is receipts or payments. You were also taught how to prepare the two-column cash book. In addition to that, you were introduced to identifying contra entries and how to make contra entries in the cash book. In today's session, you'll be taught how to prepare the three-column cash book. So at the end of this lesson, you should be able to prepare a three-column cash book from a list of balances. Now I know you're wondering, what's the difference between the two-column and the three-column cash book? The three-column cash book has two columns for discounts, one on the receipt side and one on the payment side. Now, when I say discounts, I'm not talking about the trade discounts, because guess what? Trade discounts are not recorded in the accounting books. The trade discount is given at the time of purchase. And what that does is encourage the customers to purchase in bulk. So it is used to arrive at the value that is due based on the purchases. I have indicated earlier that the three-column cash book has two columns for discounts, one on the receipt side and one on the payment side. Those discounts are classified as cash discounts. What is a cash discount? This is a reduction in the amount paid by credit customers or to credit suppliers when accounts are settled within an agreed time limit. Now, we have two types of cash discounts. These are discounts allowed and discounts received. Allowed is given to trade receivables, and these are our debtors. So when they clear the amount that is due within the agreed time limits, we give them that cash discount based on the terms. Discount received is given to the business, that is received by the business from the trade payables, and we're talking about our creditors. So when we pay the amount that is due within that agreed time limit, then the business receives a cash discount from the creditors. Discount allowed is an expense. So therefore, on the left side, which is the receipt side, we record discount allowed in the cash book. And discount received, which is a revenue, and it carries a credit balance that is recorded on the credit side of the cash book. Now we're going to look at this question, which is taken from 2010. So that's January 2010 CSEC past paper, and that's number 2. From the list of transactions, we are required to write up and balance Clauden's three-column cash book and to indicate what the closing balance on the bank account signifies. Yes, remember, the cash book has the cash account and the bank account in the one book. But you are required for the second part of this question to indicate what the closing balance on the bank account signifies. So we're going to prepare the cash book, and the first transaction reads, May 1st, balances brought forward cash 2,530 and bank 15,600. So these are balances brought down into the books, saying that in our cash account, this is the value that we have coming from the last period of 2,530. And in the bank account, there is 15,600 coming from the previous period. If these are balances, and we're looking at cash, which is an asset, bank, which is also an asset, and there are balances in these books, should we make a debit entry or a credit entry to the cash book? Because they're assets, asset carries debit balance, so we're going to make a debit entry in the cash book. So let's put in that. Our date is 2009. That's May 1st. Our details, balance brought down. The value in cash is 2,530 and bank is 15,600. Remember, once they share the same details and the same date, then of course the value can just be entered in the respective column. There's no need for us to write May 1st balance brought down again to record the value for bank. Now, if it is that the transaction had indicated for bank overdrawn balance, then the value would not be placed, the entry would not be placed on the debit side, but on the credit side. Let's move into the next transaction. Paid wages by check 6,300. You are making a payment. Remember, the concept is the debit is used for receipt and the credit is payment. Outside of that, when you receive money, this is asset to the business, so therefore you're going to debit. And when you make a payment, there's a reduction. So therefore, based on the double entry rule, you are going to credit. So our debit side is the side when we record to indicate that we get money. And on the right-hand side, we record the spending of money. So the left, again, is receipt and the right is payment. Or spending side is the payment side, or receipt side is the debit side. So on the 3rd of May, 2009, we paid wages. So our details is wages. And the amount was paid by check. So therefore, we're going to use a bank column to indicate that. So that is $6,300. Our next transaction reads, received a loan of $10,000 by check from Big Development Bank. This is saying received. So therefore, we're going to use the debit side. Received $10,000 by check from Big Development Bank. So the items affected are bank and Big Development Bank, representing that loan. So let's enter that. On the receipt side, our date is May 5th. Our details is Big Development Bank. Remember, for your details, you're recording the other item that is affected. And in bracket, we're going to put loan to represent, to indicate that that is a loan account. Our folio is the general ledger, and the amount was received by check. So we're going to enter that 10,000 in the bank column. That's basically our bank account. Our next transaction is cash sales to T. Richards amounted to $465. So this is saying that the business sold goods on May 8th, receiving cash of $465. The two items affected are cash and sales. I know you may be saying T. Richards and cash or T. Richards and sales, but it's not correct. There's no need for us to record T. Richards in our accounting books because this is a cash transaction. If it was a credit transaction, definitely that would not be in our cash book. And of course, we would have to record in our sales journal that T. Richards is owing us. In this case, it's a cash transaction, so hence we're going to make the record in our cash book. The two items affected again are cash and sales. So in our cash, because we sold the goods, we received that cash, we're going to make the entry on the receipt side. That is May 8th. Details, sales, that's all the item affected. Our folio is general ledger, and the amount was received in cash. So we record that in our cash column, which is our cash account, and that's $465. Next transaction, paid MDOF account in full by check. So we're seeing that we're making a payment. So when we get to the cash book to make our entry, we're going to record that on the credit side. The outstanding amount was $5,000. The outstanding amount was $5,000 before taking 5% cash discount. So we are saying that the business was owing $5,000 to MDOF. Now the business is making a payment and receiving 5% cash discount. Before you make the record in your cash book, you have to take out that discount. 5% of the value that was outstanding, the actual value that was outstanding, give us $250. So that's 5% of $5,000. So that would be recorded in the discount column. And for the amount that we have paid, it is $5,000 less the discount, which is $4,750. So we're going to make a record of that in the cash book. On the payment side, because we made a payment that is May 10th, the payment was made to MDOF. The folio, because we're making a payment to MDOF, definitely this is a creditor. Creditors' accounts are located in the purchases ledger. The discount, we have to indicate that, and that is $250. Remember, discount allowed is on the left because that is an expense, and discount received is on the right-hand side. That is a revenue, and revenues carry credit balance. The amount was paid by check, so that is $4,750 in the bank column. And bear in mind that if it is a receipt and you're making the entry on the receipt side, there's a discount. That discount will go with the record of the receipt on the debit side, because definitely that would be indicating that you gave the customer a discount. Remember, allowed is on the debit. Payments, for the payments, you got a discount from the creditors. The payment is recorded on the credit side. The discount goes with that. So that's recorded on the payment side. So if it is that you don't remember that it is discount allowed on the left, discount received on the right, wherever you make the entry, the discount will be on that side just the same. So let's continue to look at the transactions. We have May 13th, paid electricity by cash. Paid electricity by cash, $765. And because you made a payment, we're going to record that on the payment side. So that is May 13th. Our details is electricity. Our folio is general ledger, and the payment was made by cash. So we're using the cash column, recording that in the cash account. Next transaction, May 17th. The following paid their accounts: L. Joseph, $4,500, and V. Tola, $4,560. So we're saying that Joseph was owing $4,500 and V. Tola owing $2,560 to the business. They're clearing that account, what they're owing. Each deducted 5% cash discount and paid the difference by check. So this is what they were owing. We see that L. Joseph was owing $4,500, while V. Tola was owing $2,560. Now they're paying and they're deducting 5% cash discount. We have to take out that 5% cash discount out of the value that was owing by each customer, and then the difference is recorded in the bank account because they are paid by check, and the discount has to be recorded in the discount column. 5% of $4,500 give us a value of $225. So 5 divided by 100 multiplied by 4,500 give us a value of $225. And the difference between that 4,500 and the discount that was given, remember, discount reduces the value that is owing, and that will be paid, and that is $4,275. So let's make the entry in the cash book for L. Joseph. Remember, the customers are paying us. So that is a receipt. So that's May 17, L. Joseph. And the discount, remember, that is $225. And the difference between that 4,500 and the 225 is what we record as our receipt, the actual value that we have received from L. Joseph. And this is $4,275. The folio, because this person is a customer, the folio is sales ledger because customers' accounts are located in the sales ledger. Let's look at the other customer that paid on this date. V. Thola was owing $2,560. This multiplied by the 5% discount gave us a discount of $128. $128 from that $2,560 leave us with $2,432. And that is what we record in the accounting books. So let us move to the cash book and make that entry. The date is the same. That is V. Thola. The folio is sales ledger because that's a customer. The discount based on calculation is 128. And the difference, what we receive from this customer is $2,432. Our next transaction transferred $500 from cash to bank. The two items affected by this transaction are cash and bank. Yes, that is a contra entry because we have to complete double entry in the cash book. We have to show the effect on the cash. We have to show the effect on the bank, and those two accounts are located in the cash book. Hence, it is a contra entry. Let's do the transfer of that 500 from the cash to bank. We're transferring from cash to bank, so cash is decreasing. The date is May 22nd. We're going to put the amount in the cash column to show the reductions. That's 500. Our details is bank. It cannot be cash because you made that entry in the cash account. Our details has to be the other item that is affected. Where is bank located? That's located in our cash book. And we're going to use C to represent contra entry. We have the transfer of the cash. So we take the cash from the cash account. We're now going to put that value in the bank account. So on the debit side to represent the increase, our date is the 22nd. We're going to put that 500 in the bank account. So in the bank column, we record 500. Our details is the other item affected, which is cash. And our folio is C to represent contra entry. Let's move into the other transaction. And that is paid quotient $2,940 by check, having deducted 2% cash discount. And we're going to take a little time on this one because guess what? It is saying that we paid $2,940 by check. This was written on the check. Having deducted a 2% cash discount. Having deducted 2% cash discount. What this is saying is that the $2,940 is what we had paid. We have taken out the discount that we are entitled to. It's stated, this is the amount that is paid on the check. Having deducted, meaning that the discount is already taken out. So let's indicate in the cash book that we have paid the $2,940 by check. The date is May 26th. The details, quotient, and our folio is PL because this is a supplier that we are paying and the amount was paid by check. So we're recording the exact amount that was on the check of $2,940. There's a discount, but we are not going to calculate the 2% of the $2,940. because that discount was already taken out. If we take it out again, it means that we're double recording that the discount was taken out. And it would reflect that we're paying less than that $2,940, which we should pay and which we have paid. Our aim, people know, is determine what was the original value. The question did not give us the actual amount that should have been paid, that the actual amount that was owing. It said that we have paid $2,940 having deducted. It could have stated having taken, which means that the person already take out the discount. And the amount that is paid is $2,940. We have to determine what was the actual value before arriving at the $2,940 that was paid. So to do that, in the question, the transaction, you need to pick up the actual value that was paid. It could be a case where it was received just the same, but in this case, it was paid. Pick up the actual value that was paid, and this was $2,940. The next thing, we are going to divide this. We're going to divide that by 100% minus the actual percentage discount that was taken out, which is 2%. So simply, what we are doing is dividing the 2,940 by 100% minus 2% give us 98%. And guess what? I'm going to put that 98% in decimal. I'm going to convert that to decimal, which is 0.98. Now, divide 2,940 by 0.98 and tell me what you get. The value that should be on your calculator is $3,000. This $3,000 is representing, this $3,000 is representing the original value that was due. But the business paid $2,940. What was the discount? Because now we have the original value and we have the value that was paid. The discount, people, is the difference between the two values, the original value and the amount that was paid, and that give us $60. So in the cash book, we're going to record that the discount is $60. So when you get a cash book question, people, you need to ensure that you identify, you interpret the transaction accurately to see whether or not the discount was already taken out. We're now going to move on to the next transaction. And that is May 29th, Mr. Cluden bought a car for his personal use at a cost of $25,000, paying by check. So Mr. Cluden bought this car. Was it purchased for the business? That wasn't purchased for the business. It was purchased for personal use. So basically, people, what we're seeing is that Mr. Cluden took money from the business for personal use. The payment was made by check, so therefore it was taken from the bank. This car that Mr. Cluden purchased was not bought to be used in the business. It was for his personal use. Because this was for personal use, it's basically saying that Mr. Cluden took the money from the business for his own use. And in this case, the item affected is drawings. We're not going to record in our books to indicate that Mr. Cluden bought a car, because guess what? This car wasn't purchased for the business use. It was purchased for personal use. So what we have to indicate is that this is an increase in drawings. Our drawings account would be debited, and this amount was taken by check the car was purchased by check, meaning that the amount was taken from the bank account. So therefore, we're going to show in the cash book that there is a reduction in the bank. And to do that, we have to make this entry on the credit side. So in the cash book, people, on the credit side, we have May 29th. Our details is drawings. Our folio is general ledger. And the amount is placed in the bank column to represent that reduction in bank, and that is $25,000. So remember, because this was taken from the business for personal use, we have to show that that is an increase in drawings and a reduction in our bank account. So the two items affected are drawings and bank. If you are completing double entry, definitely your drawings account would have been debited. We're almost at the end. We are now going to look at the last transaction, which is received cash settlement of $200 from Magna Insurance Company. So that's a receipt on the debit side, May 30th. Our details is Magna Insurance, and the value was received by cash. So therefore, we are entering that value in the cash account. This is insurance, so therefore, we are going to put this in the general ledger for our folio. Note that we are at the end of recording all those entries from the question in the cash book. Looking at the effect of the transactions, entries placed in the cash book. Our next step is to balance off the cash book. Now remember, when you're balancing off the cash book, you have two accounts in the cash book. And now we're seeing introduction of the discounts, because you show in the cash book the effect of the discount once discount is in the question. And what we're going to do, we're not balancing off the discount account. We have discount allowed, discount received. So therefore, we cannot compare receive with allowed. One is an expense, one is a revenue. So we're not going to balance our discounts account. When we get to that stage, we're just going to enter the totals. We need to balance our cash account and our bank account, and we're going to begin with the cash account first. So what you need to do for me is to total the value that we have on the debit side for the cash, total what we have on the credit side, and then find the difference between the two. Our credit side is short. So on the credit side, we're going to enter May 31st. Our details, balance, carried down, and the difference is placed in the cash column, which is $1,930. We could move ahead and enter the totals for the cash, but we're not going to do that. I'm encouraging you to enter your balance in the bank before you put your totals, because your totals have to be on the same level. They should be in the same row. Bear in mind that when you're balancing the cash account, your balance carried on will always be on the credit side, because you cannot spend more cash than what you have in your hand. For the bank, the total the debit and total the credit, and then find a difference between the two. So what you're doing is adding all these values on the debit to find what is the total on the debit for the bank, and adding all these values on the credit to find out what it is for the total on the credit side. Now, when you total, people, you would notice that your credit is larger than your debit for the bank. Hence, our balance carried down is placed on the debit side. So May 31st, balance, CD, the difference between the two sides is $6,000. $1,083. And now that we have our two balance carried down, we can then put in our totals. Let's total the discount. Now is the time you're going to enter the total for the discount. Discount allowed is 225 plus 128, and that gives us a value of 353, which is $353. Our cash, the total for the cash is 3,195, and our bank is 38,990. On the credit side, our discount received is 250 plus 60, which gives us $310. Our cash is 3,195, and our bank is 38,990. And our next step is to put our single line above and our double line below. Remember, for your totals, you need to insert your single line above and your double line below. So let's do that for the credit side totals. And our final stage is to enter our balance brought down. We have to record a balance BD for cash and a balance BD for bank. We have two CDs, so we need to have two BDs. So let's take it in stages. We have a CD on the right, and that is CD for the cash account. We need to ensure that we record for this CD, the balance BD on the left-hand side, because remember, it is opposite of your CD. It's on the larger side. So let's make the entry of our balance brought down in cash. The date is June 1st, which is the beginning of the next period. Our details is balance brought down. And we're recording the balance BD for cash. So in the cash column, that value is 1,930. It must carry the same value as your CD. Now that we have completed the cash, we are now going to do the bank. Notice for the bank, the balance CD is on the debit side. So therefore, the balance CD must be recorded on the credit side. Let's enter that. June 1st, our details is balance brought down, and the amount must be placed in the bank column, and that is 6,183. And that concludes part AI of the question. The other section of the question asks you to indicate what the balance in bank represents. Once we talk about balance, we're looking at the balance BD. So you're asked to indicate what this balance BD on the credit side of the bank account represents. Now, once the balance brought down falls on the credit side for bank, it means that the business has withdrawn more than what is in its bank account. So therefore, we have a bank overdraft. It is an overdrawn balance. So if you get a question and it states balance in bank credit, then that is an overdrawn balance. Or the transaction could read overdrawn balance at bank. In this case, people, you need to record this balance brought down on the credit side. Again, this is indicating that the business has withdrawn more than what is in its bank account. So therefore, the business is owing the bank. And this takes us to the end of our lesson, where we focus on looking at preparing a 3-column cash book.
Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.